Good evening, everyone. Happy Friday. Ranting Weight Watcher. I am your host, Donato Russo. Got a good show planned for you tonight. Stick around to the end. Most of all, if you like the show, like, share, comment, and subscribe. How's it going, everybody? We're gonna talk about we're gonna hit some topics on the beginning of the weight loss journey tonight. And they're funny to talk about, when I'm sitting here in this to you. And if you're on Weight Watchers right now, everything I'm going to talk about tonight, you will either have already experienced, or if you're just starting, you're going to experience at some point. And so beware, I guess you could say, right? When you make that decision, right, and you say, that's it, I'm going to do this. I'm going to live a healthier lifestyle, and I'm choosing Weight Watchers to do so. Two things happen. Actually, it's probably one thing, but Murphy's Law comes into effect, right? And everything that can go wrong to prevent you from pursuing this journey will go wrong. And not only will that happen, friends, family members, you'll have your supporters, don't get me wrong, but you'll have plenty of people that will question the idea of Weight Watchers altogether. Because, the beauty of Weight Watchers is that you literally give up nothing. Now, if you have food addiction and there are foods that if you eat them, they trigger you to make further bad decisions, then this doesn't necessarily apply to you. But for the majority, Weight Watchers is so wonderful because if you want to have a slice of pizza on a Saturday night, you can make sure that you have that slice of pizza on a Saturday night. And the same thing, if you want 2 slices of pizza on a Saturday night, you can make sure you can have 2 slices of pizza on a Saturday night. And I can go on and on. Apple pie, ice cream, whatever it is. Everything is applicable. Everything fits as long as you work the plan to make that happen. And so there's the people around you will react in a way because everybody has this mindset. Anybody, I don't care who it is. You can ask anybody on the planet, what does it take to lose weight? And the majority of them will tell you, well, give up this, give up that, and you will lose weight. And everything they say is correct. But my question is it sustainable? With what you give up to follow keto, for instance, is keto sustainable over long periods of time because of what you're giving up? The answer to this question will be different for every person out there. There's people that just don't care and they'll give up everything in the name of losing weight and they'll never look back. And there's other people that love to have these things in their lives, because in reality, there's no such thing as bad food, right? And everybody's like shaking their head right now and they're saying, what do you do? This guy's crazy. No, there's no such thing as bad food. Our relationship with that food is what is bad. The food itself is not good or bad. It's just food. Your relationship with that food item is good or bad. And how you handle that food item is what makes it good or bad. right? So a lot of us know you can. If I say close your eyes and think of the one item you can't resist right now, everybody's got a picture right in their head right now of the one food item they can't say no to. And when I first started, I started with the mentality of having to give things up. And part of that is because I believe myself to have a food addiction. And now, for example, the one thing that I gave up for quite some time is cookies. And not just store-bought cookies. I don't really care for something you could buy in a store. I mean, if it's made fresh, like, when my wife makes some cookies, those are the ones that are a little bit dangerous, And still to this day, I practice very strict rules when it comes to when she bakes cookies. I practice very strict discipline as to how many I can have, when I can have them, and, from that going forward. So if you have that one food item and you think that there's no way you can say no to it, then maybe that's the one food item you have to give up for a while. Because if that food item leads to 7 or 8 other choices that are all going to lead your journey in the wrong direction, then maybe until you're stronger, until your mindset has changed, you have to avoid that food item. So now, for example, I avoided cookies. I started in January 2019, and I avoided cookies altogether until Christmas 2019. And I was I was so worried of becoming the old version of myself at that point. Because at that point I was approaching, I was trying to get to 75 pounds down at that moment. And I was working so hard, and as we came to Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving was approaching and everything else, everything just seemed to be one obstacle after the next. And all I wanted was to achieve the minus 75 pounds. And so it came to the point where I was probably going to make it even more unhealthy by avoiding it any longer. And so I gave myself all these rules. You can't have more than 3. If you can't find something comparable to track it with, then you can't eat it. If you really, really gotta have it, then build it with the recipe builder in the Weight Watchers app, and put however many cookies came in the whole batch after the fact, and you'll figure out how many points that cookie is. And that's what I did for a few of them, for a few of my favorites, where I couldn't find something comparable in the app. We put the recipe in there, and the cookie turned out to be 2-3 points. And in my mind, a cookie made by family is well worth 2 or 3 points. Now, something bought in a store that was made in a factory, no, not so much. I'm sorry. That's not the way my brain works. It's the worth it factor. I call it the worth it factor. If something made by a loved one is always worth it. It's always on the worth it scale. Something made by some stranger in some factory, never on the worth it scale. Sorry. I mean, this has to be something damn good for me to ever consider it to be on the worth it scale. Anyway, so as you approach your beginning with Weight Watchers, you'll find that you have a lot of eyes on you. If you have made it known you've started this journey, you'll find that you have a lot of eyes on you. And especially at mealtime, a mealtime comes, and suddenly there are eyes all over the place. And some of those eyes are genuinely concerned and they want you to stick to it. And some of those eyes, it sounds sad for me to say this, but some of those eyes are cynical and are just waiting for you to fail or want you to fail. Okay? That's me saying it nicely. So the thing you'll get when it comes time to sit for that meal, and the minute you're picking something that other people at the table think that it's something you should give up, you're going to get and I'm sure if there's 10 people listening to me right now, 9 of you have gotten this question. You could eat that on Weight Watchers? Are you sure that's on the plan? And these people, if they've never been on Weight Watchers, they'll never understand. The same way a Gucci purse costs $800 and a Walmart purse costs $20. It's that exact idea, right? There is food in the Weight Watchers app. Some of the food is expensive food, designer brand expensive food, and some of the food is cheap or healthy in this case, I should say, and it costs less, the healthy food. Okay? And so, the people at the table are going to be looking for some minuscule amount of food on your plate that is all basically inedible. They don't want to see anything interesting on it, sauces and all that stuff that would make anything healthy worth, just that much more appealing to eat. They don't want to see it. They just want it to be an empty plate, as empty as possible, with the driest, blandest food on the planet sitting there, and they expect you to lose weight for the rest of your life doing that. I'm sorry, just doesn't happen. Just doesn't happen, people. Doesn't happen. And when we joined, me and my wife joined in 2019, we got that. Oh my God, it was so endless. The question, you can eat that? You can eat that? Are you sure you can eat that? And it's probably, to me at least, this is to me, it's probably the most annoying question. Because part of me just wants to say, well, you know what? Join Weight Watchers and you'll see what you can eat. Until then, just let my work do the talking. Well, you know what? We're going to take a break. And when we come back, I got a funny story to tell you. So don't go anywhere, all right? All right, we'll see you after the break. Hi, everyone. I'm Donato Russo of the Ranting Weight Watcher. I would love it if we can connect on social media. If you're interested in finding me on Facebook or Instagram, you can search at the Ranting Weight Watcher. If you're on Twitter, find me at the Ranting WW. If you're already on Weight Watchers and you want to find me on the Connect app, search at Ranting Weight Watcher. If you're interested in joining Weight Watchers and you'd like a free month to try it out, you can email the show and I can make that happen for you. Just send me an email, therantingweightwatcher@gmail.com, and in the subject line put WW free month, and I'll make that happen for you. If you'd just like to share your successes, your failures, your story in general, and you want to email the show, again, therantingweightwatcher@gmail.com. Send me your story. Most of all, though, if you like the show, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Spread the word about the Ranting Weight Watcher. I'd love to stick around. You guys have a great day, and now back to the show. All right, and we are back. Thanks for sticking with me. We were talking about starting a new journey with Weight Watchers, and how these little what seem to be minor obstacles, for some people dealing with the questions that I've presented to you so far today, some people they can't handle that. They just want, and just the questions they're receiving alone may derail them. My advice to you is, please, if you know yourself, if you haven't started yet or you're just starting, tell as few people as possible that you're starting. This is the way I would handle it. Tell almost nobody unless you absolutely have to. And this way you're not receiving the questions and your work does the talking. So now, the work you put into Weight Watchers, it is what you're going to get out. Okay? And nothing worth doing ever comes easy. And so there's not, just because Weight Watchers has this beautiful app and everything else, doesn't mean you're not going to have tough times. Okay? Because like I said before, Murphy's Law comes into effect and everything that can go wrong will go wrong. It is those moments where we need to stick with it the most. That's what I'll say about that for now. But I did want to tell you this story. So when in the beginning of my journey, I recognized pretty quickly that if you plan things right, you can eat whatever you want. If you want a pizza at the end of the night, you track the pizza before you eat breakfast. Track the pizza, put it in there, and this way the points are gone, and you can't accidentally overeat anymore. And if you do accidentally overeat, there's always weeklies, and if you're someone like me, I actually use Fit Points because I do quite a bit of exercise now in this current part of my journey, and I do experiment with using the Fit Points that you earn for doing exercise and for those really expensive food items that you eat maybe once a week or once every other week, whatever it is, that come your way. I work for them. I put in the work, and that way when I track that food item, I don't feel the fact that I don't feel anymore that this is a bad food item, because I know how much work I put in to be able to eat that food item. And there are these food items that you need to have those in your life. You love them, right? I mean, it is what it is, right? And if you're willing to do the work, if you're willing to go out and go for like me, okay, for instance, yesterday my walk was 4 miles, a little over 4 miles, and I earned, I believe, I want to say 40 points, or 30, I can't remember exactly, but let's call it, the typical walk is anywhere between 30 and 45 points, somewhere in between there, okay? And that's because of, number one, I'm wearing a smart device that monitors my heart rate, knows my height, knows my weight. The accuracy in measurement of my work that I put in is far more accurate than someone just tracking an exercise item, because it's happening live. If my heart rate hits 160 while I'm in the walk, then it's registered that as such, and it's all affected. Where I was going with this is the item that I want to eat. If I earned 30 points from that walk, and the item I'm going to eat is 20, all of a sudden the guilt of eating that food item is gone. Because I know I went to walk 2 hours this morning and I earned 40 points on the walk. But that isn't for everybody. If you ever want to experience that, if you ever want to experiment with Fit Points or whatever, and you want advice on how to do it, email the show and I'll tell you what I went through or what I did. But it goes with the mindset. If you aren't with the mindset of taking a risk and having it go wrong or right, really wrong or really right, if you're not in that mindset where you can handle something like that, then I would not experiment with Fit Points, and I would not experiment with Fit Points unless you're wearing a smart device that can monitor the heart rate. Okay, if you're not wearing a smart device at all, I would not ever experiment with Fit Points. But Anyway, so I went off on a rail there. When I first started my journey, we would have those Saturdays and Saturday evenings where we wanted pizza, and so we'd order pizza. And so sometimes there would be pizza left over, and we would have it again, like as an appetizer we put out a slice. My wife would cut up the slices, whatever slices were left over. So if there was 3-4 slices left over, she'd cut them up into little bite-sized pieces, and she'd serve it as like an appetizer, something to pick on. Now, I always put no matter how many pieces, I don't know if the pieces I had made up to one slice of pizza, but I always tracked it as one slice of pizza in this case. But there would always be the comments, if there was a guest at the dinner table and they saw me pick at one of the pieces of pizza that were cut up there, knowing that that's left over from the previous evening, and I must have had pizza on the Saturday night, I would get the comment, "You could eat that on Weight Watchers? How do you eat pizza and lose weight?" Anyway, someone in my life very much had that attitude of, you can eat that? And we would go every week. Every time pizza was left over, that question would come up over and over and over again. And to the point where I was starting to get annoyed by the question, but you know what? Whatever it is, what it is. When people don't understand what you're doing, they cannot, they don't have the full view of what the outcome of what you're doing is. They don't have the view of it, right? They don't see it from the same viewpoint as you are. They see it as the viewpoint of, you don't have grilled chicken on that plate with steamed vegetables and nothing interesting whatsoever on that plate. So you're not trying to lose weight. You're cheating. And that's the mindset that they all have. So some time passed and months passed, and little by little my weight's going down. And in August 2019, I hit the minus 50 pound mark. And so we celebrated that night. We got some pizza, whatever, that I hit the 50 pound mark. And then we had a couple of guests over the next day, and my wife did the same thing she always does, takes the leftover pizza, cut up in little pieces. And the person says, there's a couple of people in the house, and someone asks the question, "Oh, you can eat that on Weight Watchers?" And then the other person that's there says, "Yeah, he lost 50 pounds eating pizza." So this was one of the people asking every week, "You can eat that on Weight Watchers?" Then here we are 6 months, 7 months later, and they're saying he lost 50 pounds eating pizza, which is, it's partially true, but it wasn't totally 100% true. But it was a funny experience to see someone make the turnaround, because that's when they realize the work that has been put in. And now, it's like in the Bible where it says, judge a man by his fruit, right? So if I was eating pizza all the time like that, and people were watching me and I was gaining weight, obviously, I'm not putting the work in, right? But when I'm eating the pizza and they see me dropping weight in spite of it, judge a man by his fruit. That means I'm putting the work in, and it doesn't matter that I'm eating the pizza. Essentially, my whole point of the show was there's no such thing as good or bad food. It's the relationship with the food that's good or bad. I'm so glad you joined me tonight. If I could give you, if you're out there right now and you're dealing with the same thing that I brought up tonight, I would say to you, if you're dealing with someone that already knows that you're on Weight Watchers, grin and bear it. Grin and bear it, because eventually, no matter how long it takes, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, whatever it is, eventually the fruit of your hard labor is going to show. And it's not going to matter so much anymore what it took to get there, and what you dealt with. None of that's going to matter anymore. And you know what? Maybe you had that moment just like me, where the person that was asking all the questions suddenly took it seriously and saw the work for what it is, and makes a comment that makes you smile deep inside, although you didn't really express it in the moment. And I hope that so much for you, that you have a moment like that to be proud of. And you keep putting the work in. You keep doing what's required. And the biggest thing to get rid of in this journey, and the quickest you can get rid of it, the more successful you will become, is guilt and shame. You can't guilt and shame your way to successful weight loss. So if you want the slice of pizza, don't sit there and feel guilty after for eating the slice of pizza. Track it, eat it, and move on. Because you wanted it, you tracked it, and you move forward. That's the way the system works. You want something, you track it, you move forward. There's nothing wrong with that food item. It's your relationship with that food item. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you come back for episode 4. If you like the show, again, please like, share, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about me. And because I love doing this. I love each and every one of you. God bless you all.